Welcome back to Coins Most Valuable. Today, we're diving into one of America's most iconic and seriously underrated treasures, the Eisenhower Dollar coins. And trust me, collectors across the country are finally waking up to just how valuable these big, bold, historic dollars can be. In this video, you're going to discover the hidden details most people overlook, the rare varieties that can be worth far more than face value, and the surprising market trends that make Eisenhower dollars a must-watch coin for every collector. So don't click away. If you care about real coin money, real collector value, and real American history, this is the video you need to watch all the way through. And before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join our growing American coin collecting community. Now let's get into the story and the value of the Eisenhower dollar coins. Coin number 1. When you look closely at a 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, you're looking at far more than just a big, clad dollar coin. You're looking at a piece of United States coinage that marks a turning point in modern American money. This is the very first year of the Eisenhower Dollar series, the very first year the mint brought back a large-sized dollar after decades, and the very first appearance of President Dwight D. Eisenhower on United States currency. And when you understand what makes this coin special, you begin to see why collectors search for it, why uncirculated examples are rising in value, and why the highest grade pieces sell for absolutely remarkable money at auction. The 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark may seem common, but the truth is that high-quality examples are genuinely scarce, and that scarcity is exactly what creates the value we see today. The story of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar begins with American history itself. Dwight D. Eisenhower wasn't just a president. He was the supreme Allied commander in World War II, a man whose leadership shaped global history. When he passed away in 1969, Congress decided the nation needed to honor him on a coin. And because the United States hadn't produced a large-sized dollar coin since 1935, the mint saw this as the perfect opportunity to bring back the iconic, heavy American dollar. Not a small dollar, not a lightweight token, a real dollar coin with weight, metal, and presence. In 1971, the United States Mint in Philadelphia struck the very first Eisenhower dollars, and the Philadelphia coins featured no mint mark at all. So when you see a 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, you're looking at the birth of a series, the very beginning of the Ike Dollar story. Even though more than 47 million of the 1971 Philadelphia Eisenhower dollars were minted, most were used heavily. They circulated through casinos, through Federal Reserve coin distribution, through vending machines, and through ordinary day-to-day American use. These coins got knocked around. They picked up scratches, bag marks, friction, dings, and dullness. And that's exactly why collectors prize uncirculated survivors. It's not the number minted that matters. It's the condition that survived. And very few 1971 no-mint mark Eisenhower dollars survived in the pristine, high-grade quality that collectors pay top dollar for today. When we talk about the value of a 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, most circulated coins sell for only a small premium over face value, maybe around $2 or $3. That's the typical coin you'll find in change, in an old drawer, or in a forgotten coin jar. But once you enter mint state territory, Mint State 60, Mint State 61, Mint State 62, the value begins rising. And when you reach Mint State 63, Mint State 64, and Mint State 65, you're in an entirely different market. The higher the grade, the more collectors fight for it. Why? Because the 1971 no mint mark Ike is one of the hardest coins in the entire Eisenhower series to find in superbly high grade. Most coins were struck weakly. Many had poor luster. Many had heavy contact marks, and many left the mint with imperfections that made them unqualified for high-end mint state rankings. That makes Mint State 66 and Mint State 67 examples extremely scarce and extremely valuable. One of the most important facts for collectors is the auction record, which proves what the very best examples can bring. A 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark graded MS 66 plus by Piece GS sold for an astonishing $10,281.25 at a Stack's Bowers auction. That is the highest recorded price for a regular 1971 no-mint mark Ike dollar. Think about that. A coin with a face value of $1 selling for over $10,000. That result alone shows how serious the demand is for top-tier examples. And it doesn't stop there. Another example, graded MS-67 by Piece GS, sold for $10,200, proving again that the highest grade Eisenhower dollars are commanding four-figure and even five-figure prices. When you see numbers like that in the coin market, you know this coin is far from ordinary. You know that condition determines everything. You know that collectors are hunting for these gems and paying real money when they find them. That's why understanding what makes a 1971 no-mint mark Eisenhower dollar valuable is so important. It's not just age. It's not just mintage. It's not silver content. It's the condition, the preservation, the eye appeal, and the overall rarity of high-grade survivors. It's a story behind the coin, the first-year issue, the return of the American dollar coin, the tribute to Eisenhower, the bold eagle reverse that symbolizes American strength, and the Apollo 11 lunar landing. Collectors also pay close attention to strike quality. The Philadelphia Mint in 1971 produced many Eisenhower dollars with soft strikes, meaning the details on the coin, especially Eisenhower's hair, the eagle's feathers, and the craters on the moon, can appear weak or mushy. A sharply struck 1971 Ike dollar with full detail and strong luster is much harder to find than a typical soft-struck example. That sharp detail combined with clean surfaces is part of what separates a $5 coin from a $500 coin, or even a $10,000 coin in the highest grades. And that's why people who collect Eisenhower dollars often search through hundreds or even thousands of coins, hoping to find that one lightly handled piece that might qualify for Mint State 66 or Mint State 67. Many collectors look for coins that have been saved in original bank-wrapped rolls, sealed bags, early U.S. mint packaging, or old collections put away decades ago. These untouched survivors are where the value hides. Another important part of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar story is its role in American pop culture and everyday use. During the 1970s, casinos in Las Vegas used Eisenhower dollars extensively, especially the Philadelphia strikes. That means many of these coins saw heavy use on casino floors, in slot machines, and in cash cages. The metallic clanking of Eisenhower dollars in slot buckets became a familiar sound. But for the collector today, that casino usage was devastating. Most coins became worn, dinged, and damaged. This intense wear makes high-grade survivors even more special, even harder to find, and therefore more valuable. When evaluating a 1971 no-mint mark Eisenhower dollar, collectors look for several specific things. They look for surface luster, a bright, frosty, original mint shine that immediately tells you the coin hasn't been circulated. They look for clean fields with minimal marks. They examine the high points of Eisenhower's face and hair to check for friction. They check the eagle's wings to see if the detail is bold and complete. They look at the rims to make sure there are no dents, gouges, or damage. Every small detail plays a role in determining whether a coin is ordinary or valuable. Collectors also pay attention to toning. Some 1971 no-mint Ikes develop attractive rainbow or golden toning over the years, especially if they were stored in old coin albums or envelopes. Beautiful toning can add value, especially when combined with strong luster and clean surfaces. A naturally toned coin with eye appeal is often preferred over a coin that is technically high-grade but visually dull. As time goes on, the demand for early Eisenhower dollars continues to grow. The modern coin collecting community is expanding. Younger collectors are entering the hobby. Registry set competitions are increasing, and more collectors are discovering the fun of building complete Eisenhower dollar sets. And whenever a series becomes more popular, the first-year issue almost always becomes one of the most in-demand coins. That is exactly what is happening with the 1971 no-mint mark Ike dollar. It is the first of its kind, the beginning of the series, and one of the hardest to find in high mint state grades. All of those factors work together to drive long-term interest and long-term value. There's another important factor. Many Eisenhower dollars were lost over the years. Because they were large and heavy, people often tossed them into jars or gave them to kids as souvenirs. Some were used as good luck pieces and carried daily, which produced heavy wear. Some sat in drawers for decades, reacting to humidity and temperature changes, causing spotting or corrosion. As a result, the number of truly pristine 1971 no mint mark Ikes is even lower than most people realize. When a coin series has high mintage but low survival in top condition, that creates value, real collectible value. This is why serious collectors track auction records and population reports from grading services. They want to know how many MS-66 coins exist. They want to know how rare MS-67 coins truly are. They want to understand the market, the scarcity, and the demand. And when they see a highest price at auction of more than $10,281.25, it tells them that this coin is not just history. It's a potential treasure. For anyone who owns a 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark, the best thing you can do is examine the coin carefully. If it appears uncirculated, with bright luster and minimal marks, it may be worth sending to a grading service. Even if it doesn't reach the highest grade, a certified mint state example can still attract collectors because the 1971 Philadelphia dollar is known for its grading difficulty. And if you're someone searching through rolls, estate collections, or old inherited coins, keep an eye out for sharp strikes, smooth fields, and overall eye appeal. Those are the coins that stand out. Those are the coins that bring value. Collectors appreciate the Eisenhower dollar not only for its monetary potential, but also for its symbolism. It is a coin that honors a president who shaped American history. It is a coin that celebrates exploration with its Apollo 11 inspired reverse. It is a coin that captures the spirit of the early 1970s in the United States. The 1971 no mint mark issue represents the beginning of that story, and collectors treasure beginnings. When you put all of this together, the first-year status, the scarcity of high-grade examples, the heavy circulation where the weak strikes, the casino use, the historical relevance, the registry set demand, and the massive auction record of $10,281.25, you can clearly see why the 1971 Eisenhower dollar with no mint mark is valuable. Yes, many examples are common in worn condition. But the right example, the clean, sharp, beautiful mint state example, can be worth real collector money. It is a coin that rewards careful searching, patient collecting, and detailed examination. The 1971 no mint mark Eisenhower dollar isn't just a piece of metal. It is a collectible, a historical artifact, a first-year issue, and in the highest grades, it is a genuinely valuable treasure in the world of American coins. Coin number 2. When you hold a 1974 D Eisenhower dollar, you're literally holding a piece of American mint history. At first glance, it may seem like just another big Ike dollar, but once you dig deeper into its mintage figures, its condition potential, and particularly its auction record, you begin to see how even a clad coin like this can command real collector respect and value. In this video, I want you to understand not just how common some of these are, but how the right example, in the right preservation, is very much worth paying attention to, especially if you're serious about building or upgrading an Eisenhower set. In 1974, the Denver Mint struck 45,517,000 of these Eisenhower dollars. That huge number comes directly from PCGS Coinfax. These are clad coins, made of an outer layer that's 75% copper and 25% nickel, over a pure copper core. They are not silver, and that's crucial because when people think valuable dollar coin, many imagine silver or precious metal. But with a 1974 D Ike, the value is driven by condition, strike quality, and collector demand, not metal content. Now, in everyday circulation, most 1974 D Ike dollars are worth very little more than face. According to U.S. Coins Guide, a worn 1974 D usually goes for about $1.10 to $1.25. But once the coin is uncirculated, that changes. Uncirculated 1974 D Ikes typically range in value from $4 to $10, depending on how clean the surface is, how strong the strike was, and how well preserved the luster remains. Here's where the real collectible potential kicks in. The highest recorded auction price for a 1974 D Eisenhower dollar is $14,100 per piece GS Coinfax. That eye-watering number didn't come from a heavily circulated dollar. This was a business strike error coin, a true anomaly. A 1974 D dollar struck on a dime planchet. That minting error makes the coin incredibly rare and desirable in the world of error coin collectors. And that's what pushed it into five-figure territory. But it's not just error coins that have value. High-grade, non-error 1974 D Ikes are also collectible. According to the auction archives at Great Collections, there was a 1974 D Eisenhower Dollar graded piece GS MS 67 plus toned that sold for $13,162.50. That's a huge premium for a clad circulation strike dollar. Not proof, just a regular business strike that was very, very well preserved, with appealing toning and excellent eye appeal. So why do certain 1974 D Ikes command such strong prices? There are a few key factors. First, strike quality. Denver's 1974 production wasn't always consistent, and some coins show weak or soft strike, meaning the design, especially Eisenhower's face, hair, and the eagle on the reverse, can be less sharp. Collectors prize coins where those details are boldly struck, where the devices are fully defined, where even the high points are strong and crisp. Second, surface preservation. If you find a coin with minimal bag marks, few or no contact spots, and original satiny mint luster, that's highly desirable. A satiny, original luster finish is very different from a dull or flat surface. And collectors will pay more for that because it signals the coin hasn't been abused or circulated heavily. Third, eye appeal and toning. Some 1974 D Ikes develop really beautiful toning over decades, subtle blues, golds, iridescence, if stored in old albums, rolls, or holders. A well-toned MS 67 plus attractively colored coin is more than just about grade. It's about how it looks in hand. That aesthetic appeal can elevate a coin's value dramatically when combined with a high grade. Fourth, rarity in high grades. Despite the large mintage, very few 1974 D Eisenhower dollars survive in gem MS 65 and higher, condition with premium eye appeal. On the PCGS Coinfax page, they note that MS 67 examples are extremely rare. With limited supply in those top grades, demand from both typeset collectors, people building a full Ike set, and specialist collectors, top condition Ike hunters, can push prices higher. Another factor weighing into its value is error potential. As mentioned, the top hammering example was a 1974 D struck on a dime planchet, a very unusual and dramatic mint error. Error coin collectors love such oddities, and the story behind that mistake, how a dime planchet ended up being struck as a dollar, adds both historical intrigue and numismatic rarity. That's why that one example could fetch more than $14,000. It's not just rare, it's a what-if of minting gone wrong in the best way for a collector. For someone who owns a 1974 D Eisenhower dollar, what should you look for if you want to find something that's genuinely valuable? First, examine your coin under bright light. Check Eisenhower's hair, his cheek, his jawline. Are the lines and relief sharp, or are they soft? Then check the fields and rims for marks. Rotate the coin and see where the luster is best preserved. If there's a strong, original, satiny sheen and very few contact marks, you've got a potential gem. If there's toning, that could be a bonus, especially if the color is naturally formed, even and appealing. If you suspect you might have a high-grade piece or even a potential error, consider sending it to a reputable third-party grading service like PieceGS or NGC. Grading gives your coin professional validation, and a high grade, especially plus grade, can unlock real collector demand and value. It's an investment. The cost of grading might be more than recovered if your coin turns out to be MS 66, MS 67, or better, or if it's a genuine planchet error. As a collector, you should also closely watch auction results. Follow major houses, Heritage, Great Collections, Stax Bowers, and compare the results for 1974 D Ikes at different grade levels. Study both the normal strike coins and the error varieties. This will give you a realistic understanding of what's market value versus fantasy value. Having insight into what real buyers have paid helps you decide whether to grade, keep, or potentially sell. It's also wise to connect with a collecting community. Join coin forums, Ike-focused collector clubs, or typeset groups. Experienced collectors can help you spot good examples, verify potential errors, and even help you decide which coins are worth submitting for grading. These communities often share auction links, grading tips, and storage strategies, all of which can boost your long-term success as an Ike collector. Looking forward, the future for 1974 Eisenhower dollars is intriguing. While many of these coins will likely remain common in lower grades, the truly high-end specimens, sharp strike, strong uncirculated surfaces, beautiful toning, or rare errors, will probably become more and more desirable. As modern coin collectors continue to grow, as registry set collectors compete, and as people rediscover the appeal of the Ike dollars, demand might push gem and era 1974 Ikes even higher. That said, it's also realistic. Not every 1974 Ike is a gold mine. Many are going to continue trading at, or just above face. But that's what makes the hunt fun. When one of those rare, pristine, or era 1974 Ike shows up, in a dealer lot, in a box purchase, or even in your change jar, you could very well be holding a hidden gem. In short, yes, the 1974 Eisenhower dollar is more than just a dollar coin. Under the right conditions, it's a collectible with real value. Its large mintage doesn't mean worthless, because conditions strike, eye appeal, and error status are what truly matter. And given that one sold for $14,100 at auction, it's clear that major collector money is still moving into this series when the coin is rare, beautiful, or historically fascinating. If you have several of these coins, take time to inspect them one by one. Don't just sweep them into a pile. Look for luster, check for marks, and weigh the possibility that one of them might be worth more than you think. Because in the world of Eisenhower dollars, the 1974 D might just be hiding a surprise, and that surprise could be seriously valuable. Coin number 3. The moment you hear the words 1976 Eisenhower dollar, you instantly think about America's Bicentennial year, the year millions of collectors fell in love with the Ike dollar, and the year the United States Mint created one of the most iconic designs in modern U.S. coinage. But what many collectors still don't realize is that certain 1976 Eisenhower dollars today are becoming extremely valuable, and some of them have shocked the entire coin market by selling for absolutely life-changing prices at auction. So stay with me through this entire video, because once you understand the hidden details, the mint varieties, the strike differences, the metallic compositions, and the overlooked rarity factors behind the 1976 Eisenhower dollar, you will instantly know why collectors today are paying huge amounts of money for the right example. And trust me, the highest price ever recorded for a 1976 Ike dollar will blow your mind, because it proves that a coin almost everyone thought was common can suddenly become a treasure worth thousands. The story of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar begins with the nation preparing to celebrate its 200th birthday. The Mint wanted a bold, patriotic design that symbolized American strength and achievement, and so the reverse of the Eisenhower dollar was changed to the famous Liberty Bell and Moon design created by Dennis R. Williams. This dual-symbol imagery, freedom on Earth and exploration in space, instantly gave the coin a special status. Even today, collectors love the 1976 Ike dollar because it stands out, it looks different, and it represents a historic event that will never happen again. But within this large mintage year, there are huge differences in value between ordinary circulation strikes and rare high-grade coins that survive in perfect condition. Anyone who has ever handled Eisenhower dollars knows how difficult they are to find without marks. These coins are big, heavy, and the metal composition makes them extremely prone to contact marks, scratches, abrasions, and dull surfaces. That is why high-grade $1,976, especially flawless mint state or deep cameo-proof examples, do not survive in large quantities. This is the key reason some values have exploded. Collectors today understand that the Bicentennial design is incredibly popular, but they also know that top-tier condition Eisenhower dollars are extremely hard to locate. There are two major compositions of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar: the copper-nickel clad coin struck for circulation, and the special 40% silver version produced for collectors. Both can be valuable, and both have certain examples that have brought shockingly high prices. But the true monsters in this series are the coins that manage to survive in nearly flawless grades. Whether it's a mint state strike with booming luster or a proof strike with deep mirrored fields, the rare combination of beauty, preservation, and a historic design creates serious competition among buyers. Collectors love talking about population rarity, and the 1976 Ike Dollar is a perfect example of why population numbers matter. Out of the millions that were struck, only a microscopic fraction remain in grades high enough to be considered investment level. A casual coin pulled from a drawer or found in pocket change may only be worth a small premium, but a top population example certified in the highest grades can be worth thousands. This massive gap in value is exactly why many collectors today are actively searching for nice 1976 Ike dollars. The surfaces on these dollars are everything. The typical 1976 Eisenhower dollar is covered in chatter marks from the minting process, and most coins never had a chance at a perfect grade. That means the ones that escaped heavy contact are now rare survivors. And here is where things get exciting. The highest price ever recorded for a 1976 Eisenhower dollar shows how far collectors are willing to go for quality. A 1976 Eisenhower dollar in silver proof, graded at the absolute top of the grading scale as PR 70 Deep Cameo, once sold for an astonishing $9,600 at auction. That single sale proved that even a modern Bicentennial coin can reach incredible values when it is the best of the best. And that sale wasn't a fluke. Multiple high-end examples have continued to bring strong money because collectors know that perfection is extremely rare in this series. Now remember, the 1976 Eisenhower dollar is a coin most people think is common. But what almost no one realizes is that the majority of these coins show wear haze, spotting, or marks that disqualify them from top grades. So when you combine the bicentennial design, the patriotic theme, the historical significance, and the condition rarity, the 1976 Ike becomes one of the most exciting opportunities for coin collectors today. There's something powerful about holding a coin that represents America's 200th birthday. There's something nostalgic, something emotional, something that makes collectors want to own the best examples available. When collectors analyze the 1976 Ike dollar, they focus on the luster quality, strike sharpness, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. A well-struck example with strong details on the Liberty Bell and crisp features on Eisenhower's portrait can instantly stand out. Add in smooth, unmarked fields and a clean surface, and suddenly you are looking at a coin that is far above average. These are the coins that command strong premiums. The silver versions add another layer of desirability. Many collectors prefer the heavier, more premium feel of the silver Ikes, and the silver proofs are especially admired for their sharp detail and mirror-like surfaces. When a silver proof from 1976 appears in perfect PR 70 Deep Cameo condition, collectors immediately take notice. These coins are not only scarce, they are visually stunning. And that visual appeal, combined with extreme rarity at the top grade level, is how we get those four-figure auction results. This coin becomes even more interesting when you consider the massive demand for bicentennial collectibles. Anything tied to 1976 has a built-in collector base, whether it's currency, stamps, metals, or coins. But among all bicentennial collectibles, the Eisenhower Dollar stands as the flagship. It's big, bold, and iconic. And the fact that it was the only circulating large-size dollar coin of the bicentennial year makes it even more important. Collectors today continue to dig through old bags, mint sets, and proof sets trying to locate the best possible examples. The idea that a coin sitting untouched for decades could be worth thousands adds excitement to the search. And while not every coin will be a jackpot, the possibility of finding an exceptionally clean, high-quality example still motivates collectors around the world. Now let's talk about a critical point. Demand keeps growing. As more collectors enter the hobby, coins with historical significance and condition rarity continue to rise in value. The Eisenhower Dollar series, once overlooked, is now gaining momentum. People love large coins, they love patriotic designs, and they love bicentennial collectibles. All of that works in favor of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar. One of the biggest misconceptions about this coin is that because millions were minted, it cannot be valuable. But that is where many people misunderstand the market. Value is not based solely on mintage. Value is based on rarity in high grades. And the 1976 Ike dollar in elite condition is absolutely rare. That is why collectors are willing to pay high premiums. They aren't paying for just the date. They are paying for condition, preservation, beauty, and historical connection. Another hidden truth is that original mint packaging plays a role in protecting these coins. Proof sets often preserve coins better than loose circulation strikes, but even inside proof sets, many coins develop haze or milk spots over time. That makes flawless examples even harder to find. So every time an ultra-clean proof 1976 Ike surfaces, the competition becomes intense. Even the clad circulation strikes can be surprisingly valuable when they survive in extremely high mint state levels. A beautifully preserved clad Ike with strong luster and minimal marks can fetch significant money because collectors know how hard it is to find one. And as more collectors build high-end registry sets, the demand for quality climbs even higher. Collectors also love the symbolism of this coin. Eisenhower was a respected military leader and president. The Liberty Bell is a universal symbol of freedom, and the moon represents America's leadership in space exploration. All of this meaning packed into one coin makes the 1976 Eisenhower dollar more than just a piece of metal. It is a piece of American history. When you combine history, design, scarcity, condition rarity, collector demand, and emotional appeal, you end up with a coin that continues to rise in importance. Whether it's a high-grade circulation strike or a flawless silver proof, the 1976 Ike dollar is becoming one of the standout modern coins with huge potential. And again, the highest recorded auction price, a massive $9,600, proves just how far collectors will go to secure the finest known example. So if you have a 1976 Eisenhower dollar, treat it with care. This coin is valuable. This coin has strong demand. And this coin continues to be one of the most iconic pieces from the entire bicentennial celebration. Whether your example is clad or silver, circulation strike or proof, it represents a moment in American history that collectors will always appreciate. And as the years go by, the best examples will continue rising in value, making the search for high-quality 1976 Ike dollars more exciting than ever. Coin number 4. When collectors talk about the final years of the Eisenhower Dollar series, the 1978 Eisenhower Dollar with the D mint mark becomes one of the most overlooked coins with one of the greatest hidden value potentials. Many people still believe the 1978 D Ike Dollar is a common coin, something not worth checking twice. But the truth is that certain examples of this coin, especially those that survive in extremely high grades, have become surprisingly valuable. And when you see the highest price ever recorded for a 1978 D Eisenhower dollar, you will understand why collectors today are paying top dollar for the finest examples of this large, historic American coin. So stay with me through this entire video, because the 1978 D Ike dollar has secrets that most collectors don't know, and understanding these details can help you identify a coin that might be worth far more than you ever expected. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar represents the end of an era. It was the last year the United States Mint produced the large-sized Ike dollars before replacing them with the smaller Susan B. Anthony dollars in 1979. This makes the 1978 D Ike dollar especially important. Collectors love final year issues, and whenever a coin marks the end of a series, demand increases as people try to secure the nicest possible example before the design disappears. The Denver Mint struck millions of these coins, but as you'll discover, massive mintage does not mean low value. What truly defines the value of the 1978 D Eisenhower dollar is condition, rarity at the highest grades, and the powerful collector demand that continues to grow today. Anyone who has ever held an Eisenhower dollar knows these big, heavy coins pick up contact marks easily. Their size and weight make them prone to scratches, dings, chatter marks, and heavy abrasions. Nearly every 1978 Ike dollar entered circulation or was stored in bulk bags with other coins, which means most examples today show obvious surface problems. That is exactly what creates rarity. The coins that somehow avoided all that rough handling, those few that survive in nearly perfect condition, are extremely valuable and highly desirable for collectors building high-end registry sets. A typical 1978 Ike dollar may not look rare, but collectors aren't chasing average coins. They want the best of the best. They want coins with blazing mint luster, smooth fields, sharp details, and no distracting marks. These top-tier examples are incredibly difficult to find, and they are the coins that bring strong prices at auction. And when one of these rare high-grade survivors appears, collectors compete aggressively, pushing values up to levels that surprise even experienced numismatists. The design of the Eisenhower dollar itself adds to the coin's appeal. On the obverse, we see Dwight D. Eisenhower, General of the Army, World War II hero, and 34th President of the United States. On the reverse, the Apollo 11 mission insignia honors one of America's greatest achievements, the moon landing. When you hold a 1978 Ike dollar, you're holding a piece of American history, a coin that represents leadership, victory, exploration, and national pride. Collectors love the history behind this series, and that emotional connection helps drive demand for high-quality examples. Because 1978 was the final year of the series, collectors pay close attention to strike quality. Denver Mint coins are generally well-struck, but even so, the surfaces are extremely hard to find in flawless condition. Any tiny mark on the cheek, any scratch in the open fields, any hit on the high points instantly lowers the grade. That means coins graded at the very top of the mint state scale are truly rare survivors. And this is where the value truly becomes exciting. Although millions of 1978 Ikes were produced, fewer than a tiny fraction survive in immaculate mint state 67 and above. That rarity in high grades is what separates a common coin from a valuable one. And for collectors who chase the highest possible graded coins, the 1978 Eisenhower Dollar becomes a challenge, one worth paying strong premiums for. Now here is the moment that reveals just how valuable this coin can be. The highest price ever recorded for a 1978 Eisenhower Dollar is truly impressive. A top-graded example, an absolutely stunning mint state 67 plus, sold at auction for $4,935. That result shocked collectors, proving once again that condition rarity transforms a seemingly common coin into something truly valuable. The idea that a final year Ike dollar struck in huge quantities could approach $5,000 in value shows how powerful the demand is for the best preserved examples. That sale wasn't an accident. It wasn't a fluke. It was the direct result of collectors understanding how difficult it is to find a nearly flawless Denver Mint Eisenhower dollar from 1978. These coins were not treated as collectibles at the time. They weren't stored carefully or protected from contact. Most were tossed in drawers, spent in circulation, or stored in giant bags where they hit one another repeatedly. So a 1978 Eisenhower dollar with clean, attractive surfaces and strong eye appeal instantly stands out as something exceptional. High-grade Eisenhower dollars have gained serious attention over the last decade. As more collectors look to complete registry sets, they begin to realize that the final year 1978 issue is a lot harder to find in elite condition than people assume. This growing demand has pushed values up, and the strongest examples are now selling for record prices. That is why it's so important to examine any 1978 Ike dollar carefully. A coin that looks average at first glance may actually be far better than the typical examples, especially if it has clean fields, strong strike quality, and original luster. When evaluating a 1978 Ike dollar, collectors pay close attention to the cheek and the neck area on Eisenhower's portrait. These high points pick up marks quickly, and almost every circulated coin shows heavy rubbing. A truly valuable example will have smooth, unbroken surfaces and a bright, original shine that signals minimal handling. On the reverse, the field surrounding the moon and eagle design must remain clean. Any spots, scratches, or dull patches can greatly reduce collector interest. Another important thing to understand is that final year coins often develop a premium naturally over time. As memories fade and fewer untouched examples remain available, collectors begin searching for the nicest pieces they can find. The 1978 Ike Dollar fits this pattern perfectly. Its position as the final issue of the last large-size circulating U.S. dollar gives it lasting significance. Collectors also appreciate the connection between Eisenhower and the Apollo space program. Eisenhower's leadership and vision helped create NASA, and the reverse design ties together American heroism and technological achievement. This makes the coin especially appealing to both coin collectors and space history enthusiasts. The more collectors learn about the series, the more they appreciate the difficulty of finding high-grade Ike dollars. This new awareness has been a major factor in pushing up prices. And as certain auction results continue to break records, more collectors are drawn to the series, further increasing demand. It's also important to remember that the market for Eisenhower dollars is very active. Registry collectors constantly compete for top pop coins, and even one new discovery of a high-grade example can spark immediate bidding wars. This constant activity keeps value strong and creates opportunities for anyone who finds a beautifully preserved example in old collections, mint sets, or family holdings. This is why it is so important to take a second look at every 1978 Eisenhower dollar you come across. The average coin may be common, but the exceptional coin, one with minimal marks, full luster, and a sharp strike, can be surprisingly valuable. And as we've seen from that incredible auction record of $4,935, the right coin can deliver results that no casual collector would expect from the final year Ike dollar. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar remains a historic, underrated, and highly collectible coin with strong demand, growing interest, and real value when found in beautiful condition. It represents the end of the classic large-size U.S. dollar era, and it continues to attract collectors who appreciate coins with history, character, and hidden rarity. And that is exactly why this coin is valuable. Even though it was struck in large numbers, the 1978 Ike dollar in elite condition is a true treasure, and the best examples will continue to rise in value as collectors search for the cleanest survivors. Before you head out, remember this. Every coin we talk about on this channel has a story, a hidden value, and a real opportunity that most collectors overlook. And if you enjoyed learning about these rare and valuable coins, then you absolutely need to watch my other video on Jefferson nickels. That video breaks down some of the most surprising finds, the hidden varieties, and the coins that everyday collectors are discovering in change, in rolls, and in old collections. So make sure you click over and watch that next. You don't want to miss it. And if you're new here or you've been watching quietly for a while, take a second and hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel more than you know. Also, drop a like on this video, share it with another collector, and leave a comment below telling me what coins you want me to cover next. I read every single comment, and your feedback shapes the next videos here on Coins Most Valuable. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.